I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
For you to want to just shove it in there, start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass, it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
It's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What are you saying, bro? You are.
Stop, bro! Stop, bro, help me, I'm stuck!
All right, welcome to Straight Right Card. Yeah. I'm not wearing the hat. It's fine. It's fine. Absolutely fine. It's just, I don't know. Felt uncomfortable. Felt too warm. In my house. It's starting to heat up out here. What is it? I guess it's only 57 degrees outside, but for crying out loud.
Currently.
Yeah.
It was pretty warm earlier today when before the clouds rolled in, the air got to it.
Yeah. So no hat today. No big deal. It's happened before, like 3 years ago. It's been a while. We'll talk about a lot of things tonight, but did want to get to I had a question for you. When you're doing your research, right? And you're watching, are you looking for an act, or are you looking for like a particular act? Are you looking for a beauty? Or are you looking for the beauty and the act to come together?
It's usually a scroll and whatever piques my interest at that moment.
Oh, you're sort of like a winger. You're just like winging it.
Yeah. I go window shopping, and then
you're not doing very good. You're not doing a very good research.
No, it's kind of like taking a shotgun, just
yeah.
That's
a really bad one. Yeah, I just opened the shop window and kaboom. I find that the challenge is the mix between the two, if you can find it. But I think if you can find like a chick who's just, when you're doing your research, who you would categorize as in, holy fuck, she's beautiful. And then, the levels and degrees of what she does, you're going to have to compromise on. Because some of the ones that you consider in that range, they're not that dirty. They're not that nasty. No, it's kind of a balance, kind of a give and take there. I don't know if anybody else has found that, but I'm just, anyhow, that's my recent research. I was thinking about that and thinking, what is it that I'm doing here in my research? What am I trying to document?
Yeah.
And I figured, I think I know what it is. And it's that special blend. And if you can find the special blend.
You working to go back to school at the Kinsey Institute?
I would love to go back to Kinsey. They got some weird stuff there. And I'm just a curious beaver, right? And maybe that's not the right term.
You're into curious beavers, is what you meant to say.
But I am curious about human sexuality and like from one range to the next. And I loved researching that when I was in college, when I took sexual deviance 1 and 2, which was led by the Kinsey Institute. And some kids couldn't get through that class. They were puking in the back because, there were some pretty gross things on the screen that we were watching. But it didn't bother me that much to feel. I didn't even feel sick.
What elective did that fill?
Psychology, I believe. Yeah. And so for me, it was just like, that is so weird that people do that. Wow. But for other people, it's like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. Well, why are you taking sexual deviance 2? Sexual deviance 2 is the advanced course. You're going to see stuff you probably didn't want to see. You should have learned that in 1. Anyhow.
Yeah.
All right. We got some breaking news. R.I.P. to Pope Francis, a very humble Pope, but I don't like him for inviting a dictator into the Vatican City. Okay. That's a little political. But we'll allow it, I suppose, because he died. And yes, nobody wants people to
All
die.
right.
But he lived, he was 89, right?
At least something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he had a fucking long life. Good for him, and probably fulfilled a lot of his life's goals and, whatever those were. I'm not a Catholic, so, he's not my dude, but, he is a human being, and I respect him for being human. Anyhow, not to get to...
He's actually 88. Not 89.
Well, I'm sorry. I gave him an extra year. Also, so the things we're going to talk about tonight, we will get to. Yes, we'll talk a little Leeds.
Yeah.
And about
says, rip to the Pope, but I'm still pissed about they postponed Serie A games today.
Yeah, there were no games on today because the Pope died.
Yeah.
And however,
it's a long moment of silence.
Well, there was plenty of games on today in the championship. So, quit commenting on my fucking forehead, Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm old. At least I have some hair.
Massive amount of championship games, including a Leeds stomping and a Norwich getting stomped.
Well, the sad thing about the Leeds game, which I watched when I got home, was, okay, like everybody and their mom got a goal today. Did Aronson? No, he didn't. And so we'll get into really on that team who really is fit for the Premier League. Because, listen, they didn't fuck it up. You're right,
Nope.
Shady Spinach. But we always said if some of them could, it would be Leeds. Leeds could fuck it up.
Man,
but it is
there
amazing
was a
they
week,
didn't.
like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe?
They started.
We were sitting there going, they started going down. All of a sudden, they were in third place or whatever. Like, they're going to fuck it up.
They're going to fuck this up. And they didn't. So good for them. Also, we'll get a little bit more into the Taka platform that U.S. Soccer's using with Lewis Robles, who's kind of sullying his name with this system. Lewis Robles, who I was always a fan of, played in Germany, then came back to MLS and played. And we'll also get into, I think, Sargent's comments after Norwich loss and how it sounds like Norwich sound a lot like the U.S. men's national team right now when you listen to him talk. Kind of scary. But other than that, I'm going to let you lead in, Brett.
Let's say, yeah. Did you? We'll get to it. But did you read any of the comments on that thread, the Norwich thread?
Yeah, they love them.
Yeah,
they love them, and
there's all the same comment thread. Trend is like, this guy represents our club. Shame he's gonna leave.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody knows they're gonna, and a couple of them said good luck at Leeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there are a couple of them were like, Sargent, we love you. You gotta get the fuck out of this dumpster fire of a team.
Yeah. Even the Norwich fans are like, hey man, you did everything you could, but time for you to go. Yeah. And yeah, kind of the same thing for Haji today. He showed up, he scored. The rest of the team didn't show up. They didn't show up. Really disappointing watches. Another disappointing watch I didn't get to finish for the show was Middlesbrough. I thought outside of one glitchy moment by Aiden Morris, he was playing really well. And but the dumb fuckers couldn't finish a PK to make it 2-0. Now, Alex, I hate to tell you this. I really do. And I'm trying to be a dick here. But Koleosha doesn't start for Burnley, and he didn't play today either. He has been a bench warmer for the last half of the season. He's not injured. He just isn't highly regarded by the coach. And by the way, when he played earlier this season, he wasn't very good.
Once he gets back in the Premiership, it'll be much better.
Well, we'll see about that. But if he can't start on a championship team, I'm finding it really hard to imagine him getting a whole lot of playing time once they bring in 3 or 4, 5, 6 new players, somewhere between 6 and 3. And they don't deem him sufficient enough for the championship. They're going to deem him sufficient enough for the Premier League? I don't know. And if you've watched some of the Burnley games this season when he has played, you can figure out why he didn't get the start at the end of the season. So it wasn't pretty. It wasn't good. I don't know why. I don't know if he has a nagging injury. I don't know. what the hell's going on. So, hey, I just had a haircut too, guys. So give me a break here. All right, good fucking with my head, my big forehead.
You missed some of the topics earlier, or some of the posts earlier where they were saying Derek looks younger than now.
Oh well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad it is. Yes, listen, my hairline is receding. I'm 53 fucking years old. You know, it's just not like what it used to be. And this is how I look on an everyday basis in front of my coworkers. And they don't seem to have any problem with it. So, if you have a problem with it, well, get your laughs in now.
Wouldn't it be opposed to have that hairline, Derek?
Huh?
So I wouldn't be opposed to have the hairline?
Yeah, I know. A lot of people would like to have more hair. I would like to have some more, but Landon Donovan would love to have this much hair, honestly.
Well, he will after, he continues to pull it out of his back. And
yeah, they're working on that still. Yeah. But it looks like they got a lot of space to fill if you watch the show. I'm
just like, just own up to it and just shave your head, buddy.
I don't think
grow some stubble. You can just stubble your hair. Don't let it grow out.
I don't think he looked that bad bald.
He's been bald before.
Yeah, this is my
sit down quite low.
This is my business haircut. There's nothing wrong with bald men. I have a show with a bald man twice weekly. Got no problem. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, make sure everybody like the stream. We got some shit to cover today. And we'll see how that goes. I saw Che come across the screen there. I don't know.
Oh, they're calling Kolyosho Che 2.0 or something like that.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's all during that time period, so I imagine.
I get it, but yeah, Che's a real going backwards guy. There you go. That's what happens. People get old.
27's like, wait, Brett is bald? Yeah.
We've talked about that so many times. About our follicle challenges. What kind of hairdo would you like me to have, you pricks?
That's just me. Trust me, Jack. It's in the process. I'm in the process of just grinding it all down. It's just some things up here to take care of.
He did also say to fuck him. He said fuck him first.
Yeah.
Then cut it all off.
It's all gonna get cut off shortly.
Apparently,
no worries.
He's into that part of the research where before you shave, you fuck, and then you shave it off.
There you are.
There you go. It's kind of a turn on. All right, what do we got, Brett?
We got good news in the news.
Oh, by the way, for the 130 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma.
Well, we literally just did that like 2 seconds ago.
I don't remember doing it. So that's on
X a comment.
Or Twitter. All right.
X pulled up a comment and you're like, yeah, I like it, everybody.
No. I know, but I always let people know how many people are watching, because if you're on Facebook, you don't know, or Facebook. If you're on YouTube.
We could simulcast Facebook as well, actually.
Ah, fuck that disaster. We could.
We might contemplate doing that soon.
I might as well. Just have them join.
I gotta figure out how we can monetize all three of those fucking platforms, though. We're trying with Twitter, but Twitter's just a grind.
It is. It's been a grind, but they keep asking me to blue check myself, Brett. This is happening now constantly. It didn't used to happen to me ever, but now
tag Elon and see if he'll give you one for free.
He won't. It's all right though. Yeah. All right. When I say fuck me, I mean stick your head in my anus. This is Jack Pineda. Lube it up and get it in the. Okay, I see. Interesting. All right.
Back before I got cut off there. There's good news in the news.
There's good news in the news.
Disney is halting production of live-action remakes after the failure of Snow White at the box office.
Well, I have to wonder why they're doing that, because if their original complaint was that it was just her that bombed it, then just don't have her in future remakes.
I think the amount of money they bring in with the remakes now of late has been steadily declining. It's like, they started off with stuff like Aladdin, and then they did The Lion King, then they did other ones in there, but then Lion King 2 just didn't Mufasa. I guess that's not even a remake, though. At least that's kind of original. But leave the animated movies alone. I know you want to kind of renew your IPs and shit, but just let it be.
Yeah, no.
They did Dumbo too. Yeah, there've been some flops, man.
I mean, listen, there's something to be said about making original material. Like Toy Story was original when it came out, right? I mean, that's what you need to go for. Do something fucking original. I mean, there are talented, thoughtful, creative people out there who are probably homeless now. They're probably homeless because people who are those things obviously are not being hired to write new material. And instead, we're just puking up the classics over and over again. Well, go out and create something new. Don't give me the same regurgitated shit. And maybe they're figuring that out.
Jack goes, "What's that crunching sound?" That's my ceiling / floor in the main floor. The dog is on his second wind and he's bouncing from couch to couch, but he's also a 70-pound dog. So he's like, the couch starts tilting backwards and then he runs off and then it slams down. That's what that crunching sound is. But to this point, there are definitely some movies out there that need to get remade. Absolutely. Just go back to Judge Dredd.
Okay.
Horrible movie back in the 90s. I mean, it's campy and it's not great.
Right.
And then Carl Urban was in the remake of it in the 2000s and much better.
Okay. Fair enough.
The problem is it's such a niche audience anyways. Carl Urban wasn't going to draw enough bodies to the box office. And
I can't hear that shit. So anyhow, okay. He is a visitor. And it isn't the dog because the dog doesn't talk to him.
Dog may have just destroyed part of the couch. Whatever.
Okay. Well, fuck it at this point. There's nothing you can
what
do
am I supposed to do? He's like, hey, you knock on the wall. I look over and like, what do you expect me to do? There's a whole other parent. You have a whole other parent that's upstairs. Just go get her.
Yes. Or don't. Because neither of you are going to do anything about it right now.
Yeah.
It's just a wrecked couch.
I'm going to just go get a needle and thread and just sew it shut. While you're down here spitballing,
Right now, I'll just take over the show. All right. By the way, today I am drinking a Leffe. Leffe. It is, again, of course, it's a Belgian blonde ale, Abbey Ale. They started in 1240. That's a long fucking time ago. The only thing about this one that's kind of disappointing is the 6.6.
It's less than 8 hours ago.
Minuscule. Yeah, right. But still, that's minuscule on the ABV average that I'm used to. So I'm probably going to be really good for the show, like sober. All right, go ahead, Brett.
We have coaching moves, I guess.
Trundle got fired?
Trundle, no, he's stepping down at the end of the season.
No, he got fired today.
Did he? What?
Yep. Then he got fired.
This is a couple days ago. But he got fired today? Or did he get let go, or did he just leave?
No, I thought he got fired.
That's weird for him to come out and say, hey, at the end of the season, I'm leaving, and then all of a sudden get shit canned.
Well, I think it was kind of his way to ease out of a situation that was going poorly. And now they're just like, yeah, why don't you just leave now? Why don't you just leave now? Am I not getting this right? If there's somebody out there can contradict me, I'm totally open to it. But I believe he just got fired today. Did I misread that? I don't think I did.
I'm looking at all the news stories here. Step down for 2025 season. At the end of the season, nothing new on the news front, at least. Now, it's not to say that it didn't happen and nobody's reported on it yet.
Did you put in Steve Trundle fired?
I put Steve Trundle and I looked at the news.
Might just have the bigger articles before. I don't know.
No, Steve Trundle was not fired at LAFC. He announced that he would be stepping down at the end of 2025.
Okay. Somebody else got it wrong then, and I read it on Twitter. God damn it. That's why you can't trust shit when you're just glazing through Twitter.
How do you get fired on your day off, Craig?
Come on, Craig.
Yeah, so he's him and his family are headed back to Germany.
Yes.
Wife's German. His kids were born and raised there. His dog only takes German commands, apparently.
Off to northern Germany, western Germany, Hanover, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to tell you right now, I believe he's going to get a job. Now, he may have to start all the way in 3 Bundesliga to get one, but he might be able to squeak out a 2 Bundesliga job, or wherever Hanover is right now. Okay.
Look at assistant. Look at youth coach if it's a club that he wants to be at. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to be traveling around Germany being one of the heads. He could be though. But
no. I think he's looking for a head coaching job, and I think he's built up the experience. I think that now he's ready. He did Las Vegas Lights where he was horrible. Then he did LAFC where he was pretty good for a little while, right?
Well, helpful when you got the money bags to back it up.
Yeah. So
they still played well with him. I'm not taking anything away from him. But remember, Real Salt Lake played well with Justin Christ. So
I'm sure he's got a job lined up already. Something in the bucket, already ready to go. Or else, why you start, already making plans to leave after the season if you don't have
weird to move back there and say, I'll start my job search 2025, honey.
After I move in and we're already paying rent.
I think he's going to have to pay rent. I don't think he saved up some money.
I don't think he got rich coaching LAFC.
I'm sure he's making a pretty penny. But then again, it is in LA, so who knows?
I don't know. He got taxed a pretty penny, too.
That's also a great point. Taxing is definitely an issue.
Yep.
Want to get out of California because apparently they're going to be trying to implement a tax for a per mile driven in California or something like that.
What the fuck?
Just
well, I hope
hope
the factory that you work in, if there is one, isn't like a 30-minute drive every day.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. These people are sick. All right. Julian Divas says for $4.99, what do you guys think of Poch recruiting Wiley? He wasn't recruiting. He was watching. Why wasn't he in Germany? He doesn't live in Germany. He lives literally 10 minutes from that stadium at Watford. That's why I visited. Did Nene Brown do something to Poch to piss him off? No. Absolutely not. Didn't kick his dog. Didn't fuck his sister or his girlfriend or his wife. Things should be fine. But he does need to go to Frankfurt. He just does. Period.
We'll cover that a little bit down the line here. Not too much further from here, but a little bit down the line.
Right. But thanks for the $4.99, Julian. We do appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
Best of luck, Steve. Best of luck.
Yep.
Maybe he's just biding his time for 2026 to get here and Poch to bow out.
All I would say to him is he heads to Germany. Be less nice.
Could you see that as a possibility though, Derek?
What?
So he ends the season with LAFC. They go back to Germany. Poch goes through 2026 World Cup, which is June, July range.
Mm-hmm.
During that time period, though, Trundle is unemployed for 6 months. Poch has been quote unquote flirting with a move back to Europe, but who knows? Obviously, those are just rumors. But do you see that as a possibility of Steve maybe hedging his bets to possibly get the U.S. men's national team gig after Poch in 2026?
Nah.
Okay.
No, I think once you set the bar at, listen, it all depends how this works out for Poch. You set the bar at Poch and Poch doesn't work, then you're like, well, fuck the Poches of the world. Right? Then you're like, maybe somebody else is better. Maybe an American is better than some guy who has a record, but,
You're like literally building my argument here.
Yeah. Well, I just got introduced to this argument.
I know. I thought of it just now.
So
well,
yeah,
you're like, here's what happened. Hey, Derek, do you think this might happen? No. And then you go on to building up my argument. So it's like, wait a second. What does he know to begin with? Then
that doesn't mean that
it might not be. It might not be Steven. Maybe
it's not going to be Steve, right? It might be an MLS coach. Doesn't necessarily have to be American, but an MLS guy.
And somebody mentioned it above on the chat, but some of our best ball with this squad was under BJ and Hudson.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how.
Just got to get out of the way.
We'll see how BJ does as a actual coach. See where that goes for him, and but yeah, I think a lot of us like the way that team performed under Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he'll ever be back.
Oh, no, be back not in the slightest. But again, the idea would be is maybe instead of going out and getting an idealist, you go out there and get somebody who just puts the players in the right position and say, "Go on."
Well, that could be Matarazzo if he ever gets a job again, which he will. Yeah. He will. So, it's really hard to see who the optimal coach is for this team right now, because I don't really have a belief in the players. I mean, the real person you want at this point is somebody who's going to put a foot up their assholes and has the credentials to do so, and that is Poch. So hopefully he did put a foot up their assholes, as Doug McIntyre said. I was so mad. He was raging mad, according to Doug McIntyre. But did he throw anything in the locker room? Or did he yell at anybody? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
All right. I think at some point you got to say, this shit is fucked up. What you guys just did out there, that is fucked up. That is disgusting. It's embarrassing. I hope you guys figure this shit out, because we got a lot of work to do. All right. Colin says, Tab Ramos or Clarence Seedorf time. I would love Tab. Love Tab. I think Tab's a sensible guy, but did have a really good MLS coaching career, so that's probably going to hurt him.
Solid enough with the youth nationals, though. But there's a difference between being a club coach and a country coach, or national team coach, though. Because with the national team coach, you can only do with what you have available to you.
Yeah, and then some of the guys you mentioned, Colin, are kind of like, I'm not going to say blackballed by U.S. Soccer, but certainly.
Are you talking about Hugo?
Yeah,
and,
certainly.
Then Eric Winalda.
Eric Winalda. I mean, those guys are far out of the picture, because U.S. Soccer is a elite club, and those guys aren't in it, and they're not welcome to be in it, and they haven't been invited to be in it, and that's on U.S. Soccer. And part of it's probably on Eric, too. He's a real irascible character. And then Tony Meola doesn't want to be a coach of anything. All right, tell you that. Keith Costigan.
Not going to take anything away from Tony in the sense like this, but I don't know yet. You're right. Has he actually coached anything at this point?
He has no goals to become a U.S. soccer coach.
It doesn't sound like it. Whenever we hear him talk, he likes the announcing role, and he's knowledgeable on this, obviously, on the sport and the history of the team, and he's got good ideas as far as where players should be and stuff like that. I don't know if Tony would be a national team contender, and that's maybe part of a national team coaching staff. You can bring that aspect to our especially our goalkeepers.
We could use him as a goalkeeper coach, but he doesn't really have any.
You probably use him as a goalkeeper at this point.
He doesn't have any aspirations. Yes, you could. But it is interesting that the last three people you named all have been on our show. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. They all been on our show. So,
they got blackballed because of us?
No, I don't think. No, Eric already had been blackballed before he came on. Yeah. Tony Viola's not blackballed, but has no aspirations. And what was the last one?
Keith.
And Keith, he's getting paid good money doing what he's doing right now. I just don't see that happening.
I think Hugo would be an interesting option.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, but people at U.S. Soccer are not interested in it.
Screw you.
Even though he's done the best he can to not be critical. And one thing that a strike against Tab, as well as he speaks and doesn't dig on U.S. soccer, they can hear through the shaded criticism. Like they're hearing worse than what he's saying because that's how they are. They're sensitive people. They're rectopathic, right? U.S. soccer has always been rectopathic. They are very easily hurt and offended by things. So, by the way, that might be a word of the day for some people. Rectopathic means easily offended. All right.
That's what Kevin says. Give Messi the job after 2026. You know, I think people might actually start attending U.S. men's national team games if you were the coach, at least.
Only if he played.
Just standing on the sideline, people would be happy to see that. That's better than half the MLS games where he doesn't show up.
I guess. I mean, I don't think that's going to help at all.
No, it's a joke.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I'm irritated by some of these things. I'm sorry. Wilmer Sanchez for $2. A world-class goalkeeper fixes a lot of problems. Well, there isn't one on the horizon.
Would have saved us
Anywhere.
against Panama.
Who?
Would have saved us against Panama.
Miola?
No, a world-class goalkeeper.
Oh, I was going to say Miola just had a heart attack. He's not playing anytime soon.
Probably would have made the save, though, even with the heart attack.
Could be. We'd have to ask Tony about that.
No, the heart attack came after the Panama game, didn't it?
Who?
The heart attack came after the Panama game, didn't it?
It did.
Probably probably because of the Panama game. They should feel. Our players should feel upset about this.
But you want to have them have the heart attack on the field, then?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right, Tony. We're glad you're healthy and all's good. Yeah. All right.
All right. Tell me what we're looking at here, Derek. What is this?
Oh yeah. This is about the Taka. The Taka.
You talking about Taka.
The Taka AI platform U.S. Soccer's using with Luis Robles as its promoter for U.S. Soccer. Come on, Luis.
Like you started it off with like a fake German accent and then branched right into your normal accent.
I guess.
Like you just got bored with trying to do the German accent. And you're just like, come on.
It's just ridiculous, Brett. It's all I'm saying. Like this whole thing is set up so U.S. Soccer can track the youth tournaments. And I don't care if you won. You're not the best team because Taka said you weren't. Because we programmed Taka to tell us who the best teams are, even if they don't win. That's basically what this shit is. A bunch of fucking nerds who are pumping in stats and tracking stuff. Yeah, basically. Yeah, but Moneyball in baseball is a little easier. I'm sorry.
This guy's not as flashy, but he gets on base.
Right. No, Moneyball is easier in baseball because numbers are hyper meaningful in baseball.
Sure, absolutely.
But to the point where they're going to ban the shift, right? That's why they're banning the shift on the field. But here, listen, your eyes can tell you a lot. And also it depends on the style of the two teams playing. But apparently if you play a defensive counterattacking style, Taka is going to discount your...
Finish your thought parts.
Taka is going to say you played like shit, even though you won 2-0.
So one thing that on the very initial announcement of this whole new platform that's going to happen with the 13 and 14-year-olds, Luis talked about how every team is going to have to supply a style of play or whatever. So if you are a defensive counterintuitive team, my guess is they're probably going to lump that into the AI, and it's going to account for that.
Well, for
a style of play, if you will.
Okay, that's fine, but it still doesn't value that style of play. The value of play that is most coveted is the one, of course, that we all want us to play, but only Barcelona and Man City and a select few teams can play. And it's gotten to the point where even Tab's done all the research on this, not all of it, but a good amount of it. And he still feels kind of confused about how this is going to work because you still have to plug in what's valuable and what's not. And if a team wins 3-0 and yet Taka says the team that lost is the better team, then what the fuck are we talking about here? And it happened in the tournament, the recent tournament, and the tournaments they used as their practice tournaments for it. The teams that won got lower ratings. How does that make any sense?
Yeah, I don't know how it's all going to play out because again, if you have to announce a specific playing style and say you tell MLS Next that, hey, we're a more defensive minded team that does counter, and you have all these defensive plays and you're sticking and you're preventing them from progressing the ball and stuff like that, will Taka take that into effect and say, well, they're very much a defensive powerhouse and they still score goals? I don't know. It's just there's a lot of unknowns.
Well, what if in my form that I fill out for Taka, I put in, I like to fuck teams up the ass. And then when they're all in pain and falling on the floor, I like to score goals.
You're talking about your adult team, of course, not the 13, 14-year-olds that the Taka is going to be engaged in.
Oh, no, it's a metaphor. But still.
I'm just saying, given the talking points, this is a...
what if you're a hybrid team? What do you put in? Well, sometimes we play a low block, but then we move to a mid block. And then certain situations, we move to a high block. What the fuck is that? What are you going to put in?
That's an interesting talking point because there will be teams that will recognize that, this team is much better than us in possession, so we're going to revert to this style of play on this specific game.
Correct.
But against that team over there, we're better than them on this point, so we're going to revert to this type of attack on that. So that's a great point. How would you differentiate that between it? Is it going to be so binary in that sense that it's like you're either an offense or defensive team? Oh, you're playing offense on this one?
Well, now you fucked up the whole system. Right.
Algorithm.
The AI's confused. Wait, I thought you said you were a defensive team. No, we're better than the team that we just played. So we didn't play defensive. We played attacking ball. And this is, Tab says it right here. Yep, that's perfect.
Yep, let's play that.
How many passes you complete? Because if you're going to tell me that several of the teams that didn't win had the best quality of play, they were ranked the highest, well, maybe they were losing the game the whole time. That's why they had the ball. So, yeah, they had the ball. They dominated the game, but it didn't matter because they were losing 3-0. I don't know that they weren't.
1-0.
So from outside, I'm saying, okay, your computer is telling you that this team was great with the ball, but they just took on 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. Doesn't that change the game?
So
he's using an excessive example, but
sure. I'll say one thing that they are emphasizing with this AI is that they're not necessarily focusing on the results. They're focusing on the plays at hand and how if they complete it. Now, mind you, they maybe the execution's not there, but you know what, the opportunity was there. The keeper made a save, or maybe they just scuffed it and missed the goal or whatever. But the arguably speaking, they're doing the right things because of X, Y, or Z.
Right.
Yes, it's possible that a team, bunkers, then counters and gets a goal, and all of a sudden you lose 1-0. You may have been the better team on the pitch, but to Tab's point, maybe they got that goal and you had more possession because they were just bunkering. So, how do you, again, I don't know if it's going to be so straightforward. I think when you gauge on how the stats related stuff, like, this team had 4,000 passes.
Have we become such a stale ass soccer community culturally that we don't have people that can watch games and tell who's good at what? I guess maybe that's the problem, and that in youth development, which is why we got to have a computer do it for us. I don't
know. It could be, but it could be something as simple as, if you're a human being looking at the game, you're constantly tracking the ball. But AI is able to track the ball and track the defense moving up to the right position to help support the attack. It's all at the same time. I don't know.
Well, Colin makes a good point, because Lewis did say in his little presentation there, we're looking for people who tried stuff and failed. Are you really? That's what
that's what I was saying right there. It's you complete this nice play all the way up there. Maybe the execution isn't there in the end, but hey, that player made the right run. The ball went to the right spot, but maybe the wind got to it and whatever. The execution just.
Oh yeah, the computer's going to pick up the wind.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Or the fact that the goalkeeper was 6'3", 14-year-old who's amazing.
What I'm saying is the computer's going to pick up. The guy made the run. The guy made the right pass. The execution just didn't pan out for whatever reason. X, Y, insert there. But
I'm not liking this. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's
yeah.
So these are the things that I.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of throwing this in there unless you wanted to add to it. But don't make it the focal point of how you rank teams, especially when you talk about. There's only so many teams that go to like the the MLS Next Cup or whatever at the end of it, and they play these top 10 teams play each other or whatever it is. But I mean, use it to help analyze, but don't use it to be the be all end all as far as how you gauge things.
And I think that's pretty much that's what Tab says here, and so does Tact, but. Yeah, we can't let this drift in the wrong direction, right? Slowly but surely, we inch slower and slower where eyeballs don't matter anymore. It's just what the computer pumps out on a report. And if we ever get there, we're just going to fall further behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyhow, that's all I got for that.
Do you want to continue hearing what they have to say about it?
Nope.
Okay.
That was it.
Fair.
That was the clip.
Yeah. Yeah. MLS Next, and how all the good stuff they're doing there, huh?
Yeah, well,
like I said, the first time we covered this, I think the most interesting aspect is that the teams would be able to pull up the video clips, type in a player's name or a jersey number, and get every single highlight reel of that player. And you could throw together a nice little highlight reel that you send off to colleges or send to pro teams if they're good enough to possibly get interest in pro teams. That's cool, I guess.
I suppose. I've got no enthusiasm for it whatsoever.
I'm just saying that there are a lot of portions of the country that will never get scouted by either professional clubs or most colleges. Hell, I mean, I'm using myself as an example. I only got scouted by one college, and that's because we creamed Richmond 3 of my 4 years in regionals.
Yeah.
And the coach of Earlham, the college, Earlham over in Richmond, happened to have been at the one for my senior year, the year that we actually lost. But
didn't that used to be an all-women's school?
No, it was a private school. Actually, Berlin American. I haven't seen him in a long time. He said that he actually went there before he transferred to IU.
I thought it was traditionally before it opened up, an all-women's school.
Could have been.
Yeah.
It's a small private school in a small town in Indiana, and I had no interest of going there.
Oh, it is a small town. I know. I've been there, but it's a small campus. All right. Let's move on. Fuck this.
That's sort of keeping it in the same realm, but moving on.
All right. For the 203 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. That helps us. Believe me, it helps. All right.
Yes,
Commander. Unfortunately, MLS doesn't produce enough talent for the USMNT national team, so we end up having to recruit dual nats developed abroad. With that, despite what was previously said by Pochettino, he has to try as much as he can to bring in Nathaniel Brown this summer, offer him the World Cup. He is good enough. I don't know if you can offer him the World Cup. On top of that, bring in Noah Kai Banks and cap tie him. He will very likely be enough to contribute over the next 12 months. I don't like promising people a World Cup. I don't like that. Sure. I'm fine with recruiting him, and if this guy really, really wants to play for us, then let's have him play for us. But I don't like making promises.
I guess quip about part of this topic. The MLS doesn't produce enough young talent for the U.S. men's national team, so we have to end up recruiting, having to recruit dual nats. We don't have to recruit dual nats. We go out, we talk to Americans, and ask them, "Hey, would you like a chance to represent red, white, and blue?"
Yeah, I mean, we're acting like dual nats are some dirty thing we have to do. No, we should do that regardless.
We have our full Americans here, and they're only pot Americans.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. It's a stupid argument to be had here. We don't have to do that. We're just reaching out to the best Americans. Period. Now, some of these players have not stepped foot in the U.S. I understand, but then again, I mean, they're still born to an American parent of some form or multiple parents, depending, and they just happen to have lived their entire life abroad in a different country that they
grew up in.
So we don't have to go out and do this because of MLS not developing enough youth talent. It's just we're going and talking to the best American talent.
Right. And so what if it's a hyphenated American? I really don't care.
And you know what? Those hyphenated Americans happen to live in the United States too.
Yes. And by the way,
we'll cover a couple of them here in just a minute too.
Oh, hold on. It's easy to cover. Christian Pulisic's a hyphenated American, right?
Yeah.
Timothy Way is a hyphenated American. Nobody complains about him. Practically the whole fucking team is hyphenated Americans. They have
pretty much just about everybody could ultimately have played for another nation besides the U.S. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think even Matt Turner could have played for another national team had he been recruited by that team. Of course, he wanted to play for us. So all I want is the player to want to play for us. That's all I want. They don't want to play for us, then fuck them. I don't want them.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Now to jump over to the Nathaniel Brown and offer him the World Cup. I agree with you. I don't like offering players a World Cup. This is a Julian Green issue all over again.
Yep.
This would have been the Rossi issue as well if Rossi didn't turn it down.
Because Bruce Arena wouldn't give him that guarantee.
That's what it was. Yes, you're right. And UBA did the best in that case. Would have been nice to have Rossi on the U.S. men's national team. Absolutely. I don't think his heart would have been there, quite frankly.
But his dad wanted the guarantee.
Well, I think they requested the guarantee because they knew they probably weren't going to get it.
Right. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But if you know Bruce, he's not going to get a guarantee. Period.
Yeah. So reach out to Nathaniel Brown. That's the minimum, right?
Yes. just
say, hey, how you doing over there?
Yeah.
You thought about playing for the U.S. men's national team?
Well,
give us a call.
If you scroll down, I gave 4 steps in metaphor. There, yeah. Offer him a World Cup ? We haven't even reached gentle reach around stage yet. You've got multiple stages. 1, phone, call of encouragement. Hey, we really like what you're doing there, buddy. You know what? We'd like to talk about your goals and what you'd like to do. Phone call, asking for a hookup. Hey, now that we know what you like to do, we'd like to meet with you personally. Number 3, hooking up and offering a reach around. Hey, now that you're interested in playing for us, we'd like to bring you out and have you come out and play for the national team in this Gold Cup we got coming up. Okay, that's the reach around part. 4, providing the reach around. Actually putting him on the field and letting him show what he can do for us. All right. And then finally, we know that this guy's committed to us, and we got to know that because he wants to play for us. But you don't have to necessarily. The guy doesn't want to reach around. You just go, you move on. But you got to at least, and when I say reach around, not literally, obviously, but you got to say, hey, we want you. We're interested in you. Are you interested in us? You're not interested in us? Okay, well, good luck. Fuck off. We'll move on. We got other people to recruit. But yeah, we shouldn't be guaranteeing or begging or all that. No begging. There's just no begging. It should be involved in this. If you don't want to play for us, we move on quickly because we need people who are fully committed.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Well, that's not it, Derek. Here.
Do not panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now.
It's kind of what this whole topic was about anyways.
Yeah.
So let's go down some dual nats here. We got a whole bunch of people posted stuff because Poch is in Europe. We talked about that.
Johnny said, fuck it. We need to beg. We suck. I just don't feel like begging is ever a good thing. All right. Sorry.
Begging makes us look pathetic, and we're not pathetic. We're in a slump at certain positions, and like I said, you reach out to the best Americans and say, "Hey, would you like to play for the U.S. men's national team?" Not right now. Okay, well, the ball's in your court. You reach back out to us.
So the good news about Damian Downs, by the way, somebody put up Damian Downs.
Yeah.
We already had him in the 60. And he's healthy, and he scored this weekend.
I think Damian Downs would have been in Nations League if it wasn't for his hand.
Yes.
But
yeah, that
is
a lesson to all. If you're a professional sports player, be careful how hard you jerk off, because that can sprain and dislocate your wrist, which is what happened and why he had to have surgery, Damian Downs. Of course, when he hears about this, he'll never want to come on their show again, but that's okay, or ever, I should say.
We'll talk to his brother Dominic, get him on.
But excessive, be careful. It should be a gentle process anyhow. I don't know why you go at the meat that hard. Is Downs any good? We don't know. He's a young man.
Well, and we've seen
watched
some
him.
matches.
Yes. Oh, I've seen quite a few.
We've seen the type of player that he is. But we also have to remember that he's doing this in Bundesliga too.
Yes.
Will he pan out further from there? We don't know.
That's the caveat. You got to remember it's Bundesliga too. Okay. So, but, we've seen all the other guys. We've seen Aubameyang. We know what White is. White's almost 30 years old. We know who he is. What we really don't know, and a lot of what Downs can bring, is the same thing Aubameyang brings, but maybe more skill, maybe more technical ability. He's a large mammal, and if that's what you want to put on the field,
you mean to say Agumon?
Agumon. What did I say?
Aubameyang.
Oh God, I always do that.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake. And then Football Emporium. Is that anything like Ale Emporium here in town? Johnny for $2. Derek offered to suck Damian. I don't need to suck. Downs he's ready to go. Dietz wants to play for us. Brown, we don't know. But I am not really good at that activity. I have no experience sucking logs at all. If you really want to send somebody over there, you better send Brett.
No, I'll roll with most of these there. But even sometimes you cross the line.
I meant reach arounds, not
don't smoke logs or whatever you say. I have logs smoked. Different.
All right, no, don't call Brett either.
It's different.
Don't call Brett. He's not good at it either. He's just public bathroom reach arounds.
We're good. We're good there. Yeah.
Maybe
you don't have to make eye contact unless it's consensual.
Maybe a rusty trombone on occasion, but
you just keep digging, Derek.
All right. No, none of that too. We all have our limitations.
We got Jack on the.
Call on me for that. No, I get you on speed dial, Jack.
We need Jack.
All right. Well, here's the thing. This list by the Football Ale Emporium. Matt Crocker indicated, and then the article disappeared apparently. That he's indicated he will be aggressive. Why is Matt Crocker being aggressive? Isn't that fucking Poch's job to recruit the players and pursuing players doing that? All right. Few options. Luca, Colioso, not good enough for us. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe depth, but he's got to have a better season than he just had. That's the worst season of his pro career.
Yeah.
No Kai Banks, young, just getting started.
We're at a point where I don't even know if Canada is really even concerned with calling up.
No.
It's like, oh man.
Not really.
Maybe we want to try the other country.
Yeah. No Kai Banks is already on board. No need to pursue. He's already with us. Okay? We already have talked to him. We know him. He knows us. He wants to play for us. Okay? That's pretty settled. Henry Chase, never been called as far as we know. But he's been injured for 2 months, month and a half. I don't know what you're going to do about that, but it's been a long time since Henry Chase has not been in an ambulance. So you could call him, but hard to say when he's going to be back. And then Nathaniel Brown, yeah, that's the obvious one. They list him as a left back. Again, he played left wing back this weekend. He's played left midfielder 2 games before that. He's not just a left back. He's a left back, a left wing back, and a left midfielder. He can play all of those spots up and down the left side. So that means that he could fill in not only for Jedi, but he could fill in as a left midfielder and a left winger for who else but Pulisic in a pinch, right?
But Football Emporium only had so many characters, and he couldn't list every single position that Nathaniel Brown can play. So
I guess this is just part 1. He could have done better.
Ooh, what's part 2? Do we have part 2?
I don't know. We don't. Anyhow, this all smells like bullshit. As soon as I heard it was Matt Crocker pursuing people, I knew something was not right. And he posted a link up of the ESPN article from which he read that was taken down. Now, I don't know. I mean, take a screenshot of that, dude, next time. Because now nobody is sure whether or not that happened or not. Is it possible that Jeff Carlisle or somebody really interconnected with U.S. Soccer posted an article and it went up and U.S. Soccer saw it and said, boy, you got to take that shit down right now. Yes, that is very possible because it happened to me. Okay?
Yeah.
Real
life experience right here.
Yes. I wrote an article. They didn't like it. They told me to take it down, and I took it down. But not really because they wanted to take it down, because Sasha Kleshman's dad begged me to take it down. And I took it down. So does that happen? Yes. But that's back when we had connections in big soccer. And nobody will ever do a feature article with me at US Soccer ever again. I doubt that will ever happen. And I'm not writing anyhow, so it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
But could it have happened? Yes. I see no evidence that an article went up. And if it did, why the fuck is Matt Crocker the one doing the pursuing? That's Poch and his staff. Like, if I get a call from Matt Crocker, I'm like, who the fuck are you? If I'm, Nathaniel Brown. But if I get a call from Pochettino, and I'm Nathaniel Brown, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take that call. I don't know crock about this Crocker dude. Yeah. All right. So I'll let you introduce.
Yeah. So this is kind of a melding 2 topics here together. It's Dual Nats and Josh Sargent, but in the championship, Josh Sargent starts as usual. Also, 21-year-old South Carolina born. And try-nat goalkeeper Vincent Reyes gets his 3rd start.
Okay.
New goalkeeper getting plays in the championship, though.
I mean, it's something to pay attention to.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going anywhere. He'll be at the championship next year, too.
He certainly will be. So somebody keep an eye on because, goalkeeper right now an issue. And Tony, yes, we do mean Betty Crocker. We stopped saying Betty when he hired Poch, but if this continues, we might go back to Betty.
Well, we can't fault Matt on that. He went above and beyond, and whether or not it pans out with Poch is on Poch.
That's true. That's true.
Matt did his job, so.
But he was Betty for hiring Greg again. But anyhow,
yeah, exactly. So somebody else to keep an eye on. Speaking of keeping an eye on here, we got a short 2-minute video, whatever, of an interview with Josh Sargent after today's game.
Hopefully, when we get hit by this.
That face tells you all you need to know.
Yeah,
we won't play much. I mean, I think, quite frankly, the first little bit is enough to tell you what the entire video is.
Yeah.
So,
Josh, another frustrating afternoon here. Can you give us your thoughts on the game?
I think the best way to say it is embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to watch much more of this. That's basically, he goes into detail as far as why it's embarrassing.
Yep.
and his overall play for the last couple games. Obviously, the relegation's out of the question, but so is promotion. So it's like the interviewer was like, "Well, what else is there to play for?" And he goes, "We gotta show the fans that we give a shit." I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Right.
So after another horrible loss, past 5 games, I think Norwich has 4 losses, 1 tie.
Yeah.
I think Josh scored in like 3 out of the 5 games or something like that.
Yeah. It's been bad, but here's the weird thing. Doesn't it sound like when you listen to this interview, the same shit that you hear with the U.S. men's national team?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like
it's embarrassing. They're not putting in the right efforts. We're making simple mistakes on set pieces and X, Y, and Z. And he goes down a list of various things.
Yeah. Guys aren't coming out.
Tackles. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys aren't coming out full bore. They're not ready to perform for the fans.
The funny thing is that they weren't always a tough watch this season. In fact, they were very entertaining for large chunks of the season, quite frankly.
Yep.
But yeah, the last 10 games, it's just been kind of a shit show with a couple of decent games sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
But
again, but I mean, the fact of the matter is this is also emblematic of this very fact that Sargent's allowed to say this about Norwich because he's a team leader.
Yep.
Okay. But
here we go. This is a man full recognition that his teammates are not putting in their shift.
Right. And could he say the same thing about the U.S. men's national team? You would think he'd be allowed to, but he hasn't been around enough to have that kind of authority to say, yeah, we're just not coming out and giving it everything we got. We're not coming out with a chip. It's embarrassing. Our performances are embarrassing. Now, he did after the game say my performances have to be better, but he focused on himself. And that's fine because he's not the leader of the U.S. men's national team. So we can't come out and say that. But I would have been absolutely embraced him saying it about the U.S. men's national team too.
Yep.
He just couldn't.
And I know we kind of mentioned this earlier and everything. I love the comment section. And basically you just have all the Norwich fans saying, hey, this is the leader. This is the guy that's put in the shift. Best of luck on your next club.
Yep.
Because you need to get out of here. Or some people were like, "We love you, Sarge, but we need to sell you so that we can buy some more players to help bolster the team. We'll take your transfer fee and we'll spread it across 3 or 4 players to help make it better."
Number of them said, "Good luck at Leeds."
Yeah, I do feel sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Anyhow, that's the sentiment they feel at Norwich that a lot of people don't feel with the U.S. men's national team. Yeah, it's stark. It's a stark difference. He's a leader there. He's respected there.
Mm-hmm.
Not with the U.S. men's national team.
Who's the coach at Leeds right now?
You know who. That's
a little bit of a history with Sarge.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Weird.
This German guy with a beard.
Crazy talk.
Yeah.
Hopefully he plays him at striker though.
Oh, he will. He will if he goes and gets him. Farka is not fucking around this time around.
Yeah.
And they've really, and we'll get to this, but you're going to have to think about how you can upgrade at some of your positions if you're Leeds. Yes. Are they finishing first in the championship? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Does that matter? Does that mean that the team's ready for the Premier League, that the players that they have are ready for the Premier League? Not really. And we'll go through it. Some are, or some might be, and some aren't. So all we can say is might be at this position, this time period right now for the Leeds team. Because, if I go down the list of players, they were really good this season for Leeds in the championship. But what are we seeing right now about teams that get promoted into the Premier League from the championship? Almost all of them go down.
Yeah.
And I think this year, all of them are going down, right? Yeah.
I think so. I think it's just a return to championship is what they are.
Yep. So it's going to be hard to survive that. They're going to have to spend some money, and then that's another problem for Leeds. They got money problems.
They're going to be getting their welcome to EPL money bag as they enter the. Here you go. Here's your money. They can go spending. In fact, that's how Norwich got started from the get go from Bremen. They got promoted to the Premiership, and they were able to fork over $8 million for them.
Yeah, dude, they spent almost nothing. $8 million is not fixing Leeds, or even $20 million or $30 million total is not fixing Leeds and getting them prepared for. We'll get into it. I know we're moved on. All right, very detailed interview with Eintracht Frankfurt dual national striker Kaan Ananglu. I guess he's Turkish? Otherwise,
not sure.
Confirms U.S. U20 head coach Marko Mitrovic attended his game in late March where he scored a hat trick for the reserves. Seems to be firmly on the U.S.'s radar. Yeah, that's always good news. You got to keep your eyes open for these kids. But I'm guessing he's dual net Turkey / Germany / American.
That'd be my guess, yeah.
If I had to guess.
But Marco's been reaching out, though. So that's good.
Hey, Marco's doing his job.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Man, there's a lot of Adams disappointment going on in the chat in the last 20 minutes.
There's a lot of Adams talk?
Negative Adams talk. Johnny for $2. Put a bra on Urkel Adams and let Larry date him. I didn't know he was your type, Larry.
I was going to say.
I didn't know that. And I know that someone else said, can't remember who, that, I simp for Adams. I don't think that's what we do here. Been pretty hard on Adams in the past. And, but if you play him in the role he's born to play in, he's great. If you try to play him in a role he's not built for, which is just about every other role outside of Destroyer, yeah, probably not going to be a lot of help going forward.
Mm-hmm. It's just one of those situations where if you don't play Adams in his role, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
No.
And Adams just comes off as a yes man. He doesn't need to be talking to the media, Roger, so much. It's annoying. Let's talk him. We're doing. Yeah, I get that. But at least when he did come out and talk, he didn't make excuses. So I'll give him credit for that. He said, yeah, if you're looking at it, if you're Dempsey and Donovan watching that game, I totally see why. It seems like we don't care. The part is, he said, it seems like we don't care. But that's never been an argument here. We do believe they care. It's just to the degree that they come with something to fucking prove.
Mm.
You could care all you want, but if you're coming to the game with nothing to prove, caring doesn't matter, because that's another level of caring. Like, I care, to prove that we are the best team in this region, that we are not only that, we are a competitive team in the next World Cup coming up. That's coming in with a chip on your shoulder. But if everybody where you're at in Europe on your European team is already telling you you're the fucking bee's knees, why would you come to the U.S. men's national team with anything else but a I'm the badass on this team attitude? Yeah, it's not a good attitude to come into a team for. It's good to have confidence, but it's also good to be humble enough to realize you got plenty to prove. Plenty to prove.
Chuck says Beckerman was way better on the ball than Adams. And I followed that up with saying, yeah, but Beckerman ran a 6-minute 40.
Yeah. Beckerman had heart. Beckerman was probably a little more technical. Beckerman was not.
Beckerman was definitely more creative with the ball. He had better vision than Adams does. Absolutely. I'm not going to disagree with that whatsoever.
Right. No, he had a massive, not that Adams has a really good spatial awareness, just like Beckerman had. But Beckerman even had to be better at it because he had no speed. at all. His spatial awareness and where he needed to be on the field had to be perfect because he could not make up for a mistake. Adams can make up for a mistake using his physicality and his speed. I mean, Beckerman had to be pinpoint on constantly because if he wasn't and he was in the wrong place, he was getting burned and run by. Anyhow.
Yeah. So while still talking about the dual nats and kind of transfer news here to an extent, we talked about the last show or two ago. It had been the last show. We talked about the possibility of Gio coming to MLS. And we talked about how, well, why would you do that? Because then he'd be stuck in MLS and they're not going to transfer him back to Europe unless they just obviously make hands over fist, crazy money. So then he would be basically walking into a 3 to 5 year contract with an MLS side and probably just end up a journeyman for the remainder of his career. And we probably covered this exact rumor. This is, I think, from back 2022 or 23. I'm not sure. But Revscomps says Noel Buck is receiving interest from teams such as Arsenal, Manchester City, Burnley, and other Bundesliga clubs. Fee would have to be at least 5 to 8 million.
This is one of the biggest bullshit reports.
2023.
And this is from Tom Bogart's old report. Yeah, this is horseshit. It never came to fruition. And it never will. With those teams that are listed, are you fucking kidding me?
Of course not, because he just signed a new deal. He signed a new deal with MLS to go to San Jose. I like the England Youth International. I mean, he is, but he's also American. So let's.
He's never going to play for England. Big boy team. Ever. Write it down. Chisel it into a rock. I don't give a shit. He's never playing. He was quickly let go by Southampton. Quickly. They were not interested. They took a sniff. They said, nah, smells funky, and sent him back.
Yeah.
Okay? This whole Noel Buck thing, listen, I was really happy for him when he started getting playing time at New England, and I do not hold anything against him for going to play for the youth England squads at all. Don't care. But if you think this kid's playing for the England squad and you're worried about that, you are smoking something big time.
Yeah. I mean, he got left off a couple camps for the U.S. youth national teams, and then all of a sudden he was getting called into England. Yeah, you and I said the same thing. Like, that's fine. By all means, I mean,
go for it.
You do you on that.
Yeah, no problem with it.
Maybe it'll pan out, but we'll see. But as we're seeing, being an MLS, he may end up becoming an MLS journeyman in the end.
Okay, but
maybe the height of his career.
If we go back to the original Tom Bogart report,
I just got rid of it.
Okay, Arsenal,
Man City,
Chelsea, Man City. Where did he get those from? Directly from Noel Buck's fucking lying ass agent? Like, you've got to know if you're covering the sport and the agent calls you and tells you, they're like, okay, dude, all right. Now that you're done throwing the bullshit at me, I had to do this too back in the day. Now that you're done selling me your horse shit, why don't you tell me what's really happening? Okay? Because I'm not putting that out there. Tom Bogart will put that out there. Go call him. But I'm not putting out there that Arsenal and Chelsea are interested in Noel Buck. I'm not putting in Man City, not putting it out there because you know what that makes me look like? A fucking moron. And I'm not reporting that and putting that out there. You go call Tom Bogart because he'll put it out, but I'm not putting it out. Goodbye. Bing. Okay. That's what I would have done.
This is the whole so-and-so team is keeping tabs on insert player here. I mean, this is a kid. When was the Olympics? Was it 2024?
Who cares?
Well, my point being is that he made the switch over to England youth teams before the Olympics, and the reason I bring that up is if this happened after he made a couple of England youth camps. Of course, those teams are going to keep an eye on him and monitor him, and
that's not even what that
potential
said.
Interest. You know,
they're not. They didn't express any interest.
yeah, they're like, hey, this
all.
little buck guy, what position does he play? That's cool. And then hangs up the phone. That's expressing interest, right?
Yeah, there was never any interest from any of those teams. I can guarantee you that. Guarantee it. Where did he end up? Southampton's U21s, where they quickly took a whiff, went, nope, butt smells nasty, get him out. All right? They didn't even give him hardly a chance at the U21s at Southampton. What does that say to you? They looked at him and said, nope, not a future player for us. All right? There are players that went to Europe that never got time, but at least stayed a while. Vasilev hung in there for a while for Aston Villa and played on the U20s teams, the youth teams for Aston Villa. Okay. Yeah. I can name a bunch of other players that at least played for the U teams, legit. Didn't get much of a chance with the big boy team, but they didn't boot his ass out immediately. That was an immediate boot. Get the hell out of here. We got you on loan. We're not interested. Just get out with this loan. Get out of our face. So that's why you cannot look at some of these reports when they come out on X, even if they have Tom Bogert's name on and said Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man City are sniffing Noel Buck's fucking ball sack. Bullshit. They are not sniffing his ball sack. They've never been anywhere near his ball sack. And Southampton sniffed this ball sack and said, no, go watch that ball sack back in MLS. So there you go. Yeah. And like I said, I would have told that agent, go suck my dick and go call Tom Bogert if he wants that report out on X. I would not have posted that because that's embarrassing to me as a fucking journalist to put that bullshit out there. All right. And I think, if you're a journalist out there today and you got the big J journalist on there because you're a mainstream media guy, I think it would behoove you, if you want some self-fucking respect from people who follow the sport, to sit back and analyze what you've just been shoveled and figure out whether or not you've been shoveled is a big pile of shit before you put it on X. That's what I would say.
And that's also the problem with some of these handles that don't actually do a quote tweet or add a link to the actual point, is that they end up paraphrasing. They end up adding their own little spin. Maybe Tom said, hey, these clubs are, have expressed interest, but nothing's going to pan out. Or something like that. Maybe he did say something, but you never would know because all they do is they put an @Tom Bogert at the bottom of it.
Yeah, and they embellish what he said.
Because, I mean that I'm not going to say anything's going to be libel in that sense, but if you change a little bit, even the tone of a post, I mean that can be a difference between somebody be like, well, Tom Bogert's an idiot, or no, Tom's right. They're keeping tabs on him,
Yeah, I wouldn't even put that out. I wouldn't put keeping tabs on him out if I'm Tom Bogert. I'm not saying that's what he said either, but still, we don't know what he said because we didn't click on it.
Yeah. So there was nothing to click on.
Well, yeah,
it would have taken us to his page, but then that would be back in 2023, so we couldn't go back and even figure out what the fuck it was.
True. So Tom Selleck, don't Bogert my joint, my friend. We don't know what he was saying, but if he's quoting you accurately, then yeah, don't put that out there. If he's not, we apologize. All right. Brown was in consideration for Olympic squad last summer. Says who?
I'll have to go back and take a look, but I thought that there was the talk that they were in talks with him, but I don't know. But then again, did he say no? He said that he hasn't received any calls. So I don't know. I don't know.
Never heard that. So if you put up something like Brown was in consideration for the Olympic squad last summer, you might want to tell us how you know that. Don't tell us who exactly, but give us some idea of how you might know that. I have a connection with the U.S. Soccer that said this. I have a connection with somebody generally I can't tell you about, but this is what they told me. Something like that. But just to put that out, I mean, I don't know what to think about it, honestly. Zenbrook was definitely considering him, Spider Latin. But the U.S. team, I have no evidence whatsoever that they wanted Brown for the Olympic squad last summer. None.
Cover the super chat real quick.
S27. Hey, brother. Thank you. Good to see you around again. Noah Buck is Paxton Pomacall and heels. MLS lifer. Yeah, well, Noah Buck will be lucky not to be Paxton Pomacall because Paxton Pomacall's career was ruined by multiple surgeries and injuries on his knees. So hopefully Noel can just stay healthy and he might be better than Paxton. We don't know. We'll see how that works out. But Paxton Pomacall's career was destroyed by injuries. In the MLS even. Right? I mean, he's really not a guy you can even depend on to track balls sideways anymore. He can run forward and backwards all right, but sideways? Not so good. All right, for the 279 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. We do appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Monday night as we cover all things American soccer. And for those of you not used to seeing me without a red hat on, my red snow cap, I just felt like it was too warm today. So now you get my big ass forehead. That's how it works. All right. I think it's fair to question a few things with U.S. goalkeeper equation. We might not have a current good goalkeeper that can keep up with the Sandra Pulisic, Robin. Oh, no, we have no one even close to that. Will any of the younger goalkeepers end up more than marginally better than the current generation, even if no one doubts the depth and solid players at the very least will be there? Both fair questions and both need to be figured out. I will say, though, that I would feel optimistic for future of the position towards the senior team. Goalkeepers and number 8s are the position I feel best about what I'm seeing in the youth pool. Who's that? Who said this?
USMNT national team prospects.
Oh, the guy that banned me for saying don't break out the lube.
So he's quote tweeting USMNT national team report here, talking about Gavin Beavers at Brøndby.
Interesting thing about Gavin Beavers, he started that game. Guess what he did in the next? Start.
Oh.
Yep.
You said didn't start. Okay. Yeah.
Did not. Nope. He did not start today.
Oh, that's weird.
So they gave him a shot. He played. I think he played pretty well. And then, nope. Didn't get the start today. Was on the bench for 90, but didn't. Listen, you got a guy named Beavers, you put him out there.
Yeah. Between the woodwork, right?
Woodwork, Busy Beaver, yes. All right.
But yeah, I mean, you look at but this is the problem, right? You're looking at young goalkeepers. Mind you, at least he's getting playing time. At the time, Gago's getting playing time. Cochin's playing basically third division Spain right now.
Klinsmann.
You got Klinsmann in second division Italy, but you also have I don't know where this kid's playing in Roma, but he's Donetti. Is it Donetti? Is that the Roman kid?
Something like that.
So I mean, you got Brady back at home. You got a couple other young goalkeepers in MLS, and I mean, you're seeing more young goalkeepers coming up through the woodwork and getting playing time that starts at clubs, not consistently by any means, but it's one of those tricky things. You're talking about a youth player. Will they pan out? Everybody has high hopes for Gaga, and he may still pan out, but right now he's kind of dropped way down the depth chart. Potential depth chart, let me rephrase that.
I mean, he's been totally replaced as far as youth chart hopeful by Cochin. By a long way, too.
At this point, even though Brady
even though Cochin's only played, B-ball, right? So, goalkeeper still fucked right now, to the point where you probably might want to look at Jonathan Klinsmann, who's had a really good season.
Be a viable option, at least as the third goalkeeper at this point.
And we had the Watford guy we talked about earlier. Was it Watford or was it somebody else? Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm open to any ideas right now.
The Norwich kid.
Yeah, Norwich. That's right. And then, we still got Horvath playing for Cardiff. They're going to get relegated, so he'll be down to League One next season. Turner needs to find a new team, period. Stefan's doing pretty good this season for the Rapids. Probably better season he's had for a long time. Whom else? Schulte. I mean, Schulte's got his limitations. Freeze. Yeah, I'm open to anything that works at this point. Anything. But I know whatever anything ends up being, it will be medium to mediocre. And I'm prepared to have to live with that. And I never thought in all my years watching U.S. soccer that would be an issue. But it is. Yeah. Where we are.
We'll see. I mean, even our most of our goalkeepers in their heyday. I mean, you have some goalkeepers like Friedland. Was Marcus? I can't think of his last name.
Hanneman.
Who made the move over to Europe earlier than the rest. But I mean, Howard played at least a couple seasons at New York, right?
Yeah, and how many seasons did Louis Robles play in the Bundesliga? He never got a sniff at the national team. Because, and think about that. We had all these goalkeepers playing for top 5 leagues. Not the whole career, but for good portions of it. And Howard just dominated the spot, baby. And so,
Guzan was second in charge there, pretty much.
Guzan, you had Robles. Hanneman was there for a little while. God, who else? I mean, some of that blended in.
Who else? They didn't need to call anybody else. You're already too strong.
Yeah.
And then the third goalkeeper is kind of just a hit and miss. God, what was the guy's name from Real Salt Lake?
Yes. Awesome.
He got called in a couple times. Smaller guy. Why am I spacing his name?
Oh, shit. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Really great with his feet. Really great with his feet. So,
Ramondo, thank you, GGB.
Yep.
So yeah, we had a plethora of really good shot stopping goalkeepers. Some of them playing at the top level. But again, we're in that zone right now where we have to alter how we develop our goalkeepers because the status quo for that role has changed.
Yes, the way goalkeepers play is not the same. Everybody is expected to be good with their feet now. Casey Keller said it a million times. I would not play that way. I'd just blast the ball down the field. Fuck it. I ain't playing that way if I were a goalkeeper. And maybe more coaches should think about it that way, but they don't.
He'd be the concern. We were late to the party. We changed how we train goalkeepers, and then all of a sudden the goalkeeping mold changes again.
Changes back. Yeah, because people keep getting scored on by stupid playing out of the back.
Yeah.
And how many times we're seeing it every weekend, whether it be the Bundesliga or MLS, you're seeing goals like that.
Yeah. I mean, having a goalkeeper being able to distribute the ball, pinpoint accuracy would be massive, not just simple passes out of the back. That the sweeper keeper role may go the way of the dodo before too long, just simply because of all the issues by playing it out of the back.
Well,
but having a goalkeeper, having a goalkeeper that can lay, say, a 30-yard pass up the pitch, pinpoint accuracy, that's never going to go away. So just focus on that shit. Distribution.
Hey, Larry, I'm not putting an ad on, so just suck it. All right? Just continue to make fun of me. I don't care at this point. No hat is going on. All right. What else we got? This. Yes. All right.
When you talk about unbelievable League One strikers that could potentially make the 2026 World Cup squad, no, I'm not talking about Jay Stansfield. I'm talking about Charlie Kelman. You might be thinking, how is this guy going to get into a World Cup squad? But this guy could be the nation's hero in the next World Cup. Of course, as we know, the next...
No, he can't. No, he's not. and he needs to go show he can play in the championship level next.
A minimum, yeah.
Charlie Kelman played multiple seasons. He was with QPR. Listen, maybe he was too young, and he's still pretty young. So he's got plenty of time to develop into the striker that everybody thought he would be. And he's doing it right now in League One. Yeah, he's fucking killing League One. Good for him. But Sargent would kill it twice as hard, I'm telling you, in League One. So Kelman needs to move up a level and show we can do it there. No, we're not taking a League One striker to the World Cup. I'm sorry. I don't care what this guy thinks.
Well, we got at the very minimum, you got Balogun, you got Pepe. And then after that, you have people who are doing it in a better league than League One at this point.
I've been following this guy for 5 years. I only have best wishes for Charlie Kelman. But this is an English guy going off. So
I imagine he must clearly follow Kelman.
Yes, he must.
This guy is amazing. Should play for the U.S. men's national team.
Right.
Next World Cup is being hosted in America. And just look who started his youth career over in America for FC Dallas. That is, of course, Charlie Kelman. And
yes, he did. But just to clarify, when he's at Wigan, when he was at Leyton Orient, was it Gillingham? Like he's been up until right now. Okay? On his second loan with Leyton Orient. So Queen's Park Rangers still owns him. Now, do Queen's Park Rangers think so much of what Charlie has done this year in League One, they're willing to grab him back up and take him to the championship? We shall see. But that's a wait and see. That's next World Cup. That's 2030, baby, is what he's shooting for, not 2026. That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. And yes, this dude does not know about Balogun. He doesn't know fucking dick about Pepe, apparently. And he knows Sargent. We know that. But he doesn't know the other guys on the team. So.
As well as that, he's actually made youth team appearances for the United States at the under-18s level and under-20s level. And he's bagged goals at the under-20s level as well. I mean, it is higher when you're tired.
7 years ago. 7 fucking years ago. Come on. All right. I don't want to make fun of this guy because he doesn't know.
No.
It's not his passion. U.S. men's national team's not his passion. His passion is Charlie Kelman.
I mean, he's either a QPR or he's a Leyton fan.
He's probably a Leyton Orient.
I guess he could be a champion or a League One fan, another team in a League One fan, and just making a comment about a player who's got 19 fucking goals.
Based on his accent, I'd say he's Deep City Leyton Orient. That's a thick ass accent.
I don't know where that's even at.
Well, it's not the Queen's English. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Which is prissy, by the way, and prude. I'm not.
Posh is what I think what you're trying to refer to.
Yeah, I'm not a big necessarily saying that's how all people need to talk because they shouldn't. All right.
Okay. Well, we kind of touched base on it a little bit here with Sargent and his potential transfer to Leeds, but let's go ahead and talk about Leeds because Leeds got promoted.
Yeah, big celebration.
They didn't fumble it.
Watch the game, and I think the big question is whether or not Aronson is going to go up with them. Yes, he probably will. Will he be a starter?
Fucking Bamford's still there. Jesus.
He played today briefly.
Probably missed the sitter too.
They're just if we go down this roster, there's so many questions. We look at Carl Darlow, who took over from Melier because Melier fucked up so bad on the best team in the championship. They still got rid of him, benched his ass. All right, that's how bad Melier was this season. He played for the best team in the league, and he still got benched because he's that problematic. Right. He
was that problematic in the EPL too.
Right.
So I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, he'd have massive gaps all over the place.
So you're asking yourself, how many of these players or premiership ready? Not just Aronson, all of them. How many of them are? Let's ask that question for all the players. And since I've watched all the Leeds games this year, I can give you my general opinion on that. They're going to need a new goalkeeper. I don't think Carl Darlow is a Premier League goalkeeper. He is better than Melier so far in the 2 games he's played. Hasn't made any dumbass mistakes like Melier tends to do. But let's be fair to Melier, he played the whole season up until 2 games ago.
They'll drop a couple mil and pick up some journeyman goalkeeper that's probably going to get relegated, or maybe an older goalkeeper from another league that's experienced.
It's not going to be Matt Turner. Let's just put it that way.
Matt Turner's going to be back for us next season. Hey, playing Champions League games.
Jaden Bogle. Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's Premier League level. Junior Firpo. I'm going to put a maybe on Junior Firpo. I'm going to put a maybe. He is. I know. He's played there before, which is why I'm giving him a maybe he is ready. Ampadu, maybe he is ready now. I don't know for sure. Joe Rodon, maybe he is ready. These are all maybes, though. None of them are like 100% guarantees. I can tell you that much.
I would say of those 4, guaranteeing at least 3 of them will be, because you can't replace an entire team.
No. Well, here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not going to go. They're going. Yeah. Ampadu will be there. Rodon is going. Firpo's going to be there too. And they're going to have to sign 4 to 6 players to strengthen the squad, because this squad is going to end up back in the championship next year if this is what they bring. This is not a Premier League squad. This is a championship level squad with players who might be ready for the Premier League. And I can only give them might. Firpo's out of contract. I think they'll re-sign him. Think they will. Ampadu might be ready. Rodon might be ready. Gruev, I do have hope for Tanaka. I think he actually might be one player on this starting lineup here who actually might be ready for the Premier League, because he's a fucking bulldog and he's got amazing presence and great positioning. But we'll see. This is a step up. He might be ready for it, but he still might get his ass kicked. Solomon, been amazing. He also might be one of the guys at the top level of this might be ready list, right? Aronson, he's a bench guy. I think if you take him, he fills in, he comes off the bench, because you're going to sign somebody else to be the helper as far as the CAM spot.
Yeah. No, 100%. He's gonna get benched. Or he'll get thrown out wide left or right.
Right, because he's not a playmaker. He doesn't create goals or assists on a regular basis. He played jackass almost every fucking goddamn game this season. He started all games but 3 games. And look at his production rate. It's pitiful on goals and assists for a CAM. Nato really benched through parts of the season. So I don't know.
Perplexing on the bit that I watched on that final season with Leeds in EPL.
Yeah.
You saw the bulldog of a player, and like, how is he not getting on the? How's he not starting consistently in the championship? Is beyond me. But I didn't watch much of Leeds this year.
Yeah, I think that probably came down to a lot of different factors about how they wanted to play, and Dan James, etc. Right? And then we got Perot, who was brilliant today, but is he really a striker? Number one, is he really a striker? Remember, that's not his original position.
He had I think he had some like 4. I think I looked at it. He had like 14 goals in like 43 games for the top team in the championship.
Yeah. Didn't come there as a striker though. He's a 10, as Leverdat says. But he ended up having to play striker because Bamford's injured and Bamford sucks. Okay. So there's that. And then the other younger guy wasn't ready. Can't remember his name. So is Pirlo, excuse me? Not Pirlo. They love Pirlo. But is Pirlo ready to be a Premier League player? No, I don't think so. It's going to be tricky for them. Really, really tricky. So
look at that. Brendan Aronson, their third leading goal scorer.
Look at his assists, though.
Yeah, he's 2.
That's sad.
So what we're seeing here is maybe we need to play maybe Leeds needs to play Brendan Aronson at the striker role.
I guess 9 goals isn't horrible, obviously, but 2 assists as a CAM, that's your role to create opportunities for others. So I don't know what's up there. But Dan James, this is his big opportunity to finally show he's ready for the Premier League, right? He's injured right now, so we'll see. But I think unless Leeds adds 4 to 6 players down the spine of the team, you need a backup center back who is Premier League ready, and you know it for sure. In case there's an injury or in case you find out that Rodon ain't ready or somebody isn't ready at center back, you need another goalkeeper. You need another high-quality midfielder. High quality. Like, I mean, if I don't know who that's going to be, but, I mean, don't make it another American. And then you need a striker. You need a striker who is Premier League ready. Yeah, you could go out and sign Josh Sargent. Josh Sargent's the best striker in the championship. Will that translate to the Premier League? Big question marks there. Those are the big rumors, is that that's who their focus, Farka in particular, really wants Josh Sargent as their striker signing going into the Premier League. And then you've just got to hope everybody steps up and says, okay, we're in the Premier League now. This ain't the championship. And we got to take a big step forward. Otherwise, they're going right back down. I don't care how good Farka is, and he's been great this season, but they're going to go straight back down. I don't even think it'll be the 2 or 3 seasons they stayed up last time. It'll be straight back, which has been the trend more and more lately with the Premier League. You go up, you go down. And the other question is, how much money do you, and you were talking about, well, they get the Premier League money. They got debt problems. So there is a limitation to what they can spend. And so that's going to be an issue. They're going to have to sell some dudes, maybe. And I don't really know who's sellable.
I was literally going to say them. Who are they going to fucking sell?
I mean, you going to sell some guys to the championship as you depart it? Because that's what they got, championship level players. So you're not going to make a whole lot out of that. Anyhow, big question is Aronson heads into the Leeds next season. And for the 308 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. Thank you for coming out here. We were up to like 3:30, but I guess we talked too much Leeds. People are bored.
It might actually benefit Leeds or benefit Brendan Aronson, the fact that they are in debt or they have debt problems. I'm taking your word for that because I have no idea. So assuming that they have the debt, it might benefit Brendan Aronson because they may not be able to go out and purchase somebody in an attacking role like that. Mind you, we talked. It's Perot, right? Pirlo. Yeah, we've talked about him being. BMR mentioned he was a 10. You backed it up. Maybe he slides back, and you do just focus on that striker role.
Well, let me clarify that.
I'll tell you, James, you have Aronson as winger options, all of which are fast as fuck.
Yeah, let me clarify that.
Okay.
It's not so much that with the 49ers that Leeds don't have big investors. It's the financial fair play thing. They've got to be very. That's what bit them in the ass before, right? The FFP. It's not that they don't have major investors. It's like, but there are limitations to what they can spend, which always affects the small teams, right? But not Man City. They just do whatever the fuck they want, apparently, and get away with it. But for teams like Leeds, they're always on the edge of going over the FFP and flirting with the FFP rules. Never Chelsea, as someone says, bravado. It's never Man City to get in trouble with that, but the Leeds of the world do. And so do the...
Forest almost got boned.
Yes.
Now look where they're at, right?
Everton almost got totally boned for the same FFP violations. But Man City, no problem. Go out and spend whatever the fuck you want. Have a loan army you spend on that's even bigger, just as big, practically.
Yeah.
Chelsea, too.
I thought talks of last year, because we followed that the whole FFP or whatever, the fair play, because of Reina at Forest, and they were going to get hosed. So we followed that. But I thought that they were going to change how that works out, so that way teams don't get hosed anymore.
No.
But I don't know.
I haven't followed
it since Reina went back to...
If it has been changed, it hasn't been changed that dramatically. So if you want to go out, if you're Leeds, you better focus on 4 really solid signings. If you're Farka, some of those signings might come from the Bundesliga, because that's what he's familiar with, right? Although there's not a single German starter on the team. Hell, even Max Vober, who's Austrian, doesn't play anymore. He's a bench guy. So just get rid of him. You could probably sell him to a Bundesliga team, right? Max Vober. So if he can stay healthy. Doesn't matter how much you spend. It matters how much money you lose. That's a good point. Because you're probably going to have to go into some debt if you're Leeds, because you're not getting that TV money immediately. So that's tough. It's going to be tough for them. And it's going to be tough for all 3 teams that go up next season. Burnley and whoever
Burnley
else.
has Kolyosha. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Kolyosha's going to kill it. Just like he did in the championship this year. All right. No, he didn't.
GGB says more Americans should go to the Bundesliga.
I agree. We say that here all the time. But we'll say sometimes moves in the Bundesliga don't make sense. We'll take Maloney's move from Heidenheim to Mainz. First of all, Mainz don't play a destroyer position. 2, they don't consider him a center back. 3, they're a high-quality team that's going to be in the Champions League more than likely next season. What the fuck are they going to do with Maloney? So they better probably have to sell him because he's of no use to them going forward. I don't see how he fits into that team. I don't know if you watch Mainz lately. They don't play a destroyer.
Nope, I look at the lineup, and that dictates. So there are a couple teams that I'll make sure I catch. And then if I have time, I go and I look at the lineup and see if players play. So,
well, no, really I only caught the Mainz games where Mainz played one of the other teams I had to watch.
Yeah.
Right? I caught 3 of those this season when Maloney was there. I'm like, how does Maloney even fit on this team? He doesn't. So why is he there? Why did they sign him? And 2, why did Maloney take the signing? Maybe they paid him okay, but, Maloney might be a guy you might want to bring. Somebody said Jack said it. Same time I was thinking it. Maloney might be a destroyer you want to bring to Leeds.
Here, we've kind of just talked about. We're just talking about Maloney, so it's perfect timing here. So JJ brings up Sands, talking about his performance in Germany. And I don't really need to talk about Sands' performances or anything like that. But it's the conversation that spawned after that is kind of where we're going to go. So Jimmy O says that he's a better soccer player than Leonard Maloney.
No, Jimmy. I'm not by. They're different players. Number one,
I was going to say depends on what you're asking, right?
Yeah, I mean, not many teams play a destroyer the way Heidenheim did, or the way Bournemouth plays Tyler Adams. There just aren't a whole shitload of teams that play a destroyer. So if you're a destroyer and that's all you are, Whereas I think that, I do think that what's his face here is a more classic 8. Sands is a more classic 8.
Yeah.
Or 6/8, right? Whereas Maloney's an 8.5 or a 6.5. I'm sorry. He's a fucking just a destroyer. He ain't gonna pass it anywhere. He's not gonna score you goal.
He's a center back pushed into a more advanced role. That's
exactly. He's an extra center back in front of the other center backs.
Boggles my mind why Heidenheim at times or Mize that extent hadn't really contemplated or tried playing him as a center back at this point.
You know what's funny is we played that in high school. We played a 3-1-3-3, and our destroyer was Towns Brownlee, and he was just
Towns.
Towns Brownlee was a 5'7", well built, fucking thick ass destroyer. He just, if it got past the midfield, he destroyed that shit before it got back to the center backs. They just couldn't get past him. He was always in the right place and sitting in the lane. So if he got past our midfield, bam, it was over. That dude took that dude out, whether it took a tackle or whatever. So anyhow,
Brownlee shut out.
Towns Brownlee, not Bradley. Want to be real clear. Towns Brownlee. This is a real person. He exists. All the players that I mentioned I play with exist still. I don't think any of them have died.
Let's find him on Twitter or find him on Facebook and tell him that Derek called him a short king.
He's a modern day destroyer is what he is. And he was a small destroyer, but he was built stockily. And he was also a wrestler. That guy was a brutal. He was fucking brutal. He was a savage. So that's what we needed behind us. Because none of us were savages. Really, I never was a savage tackler, ever. I was a really good space guy, but I'm not taking you out with a tackle. I'll just cut off your lane so you can't go anywhere.
When I played defense, I very much was savage in that sense, or brute in that sense. I loved getting on tackles. But then, I had a stronger attribute later on in life. I was one of the few people at my high school that could really control a ball, dribble, and shoot. So
there you go. Yeah, that's why you changed positions. So
moving on up.
And then I'm sure you didn't do much tackling after that.
No, I still went on tackles. Fuck yeah.
That's dangerous as a striker. They need you.
I played for a rural high school with no ambitions of really playing at college level.
Noblesville was rural back then. It's not anymore.
Well, I wasn't at Noblesville.
Oh.
I was Mount Vernon.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
No,
that
not
is
too
rural.
far. Not too far.
Yep. All right. Friday, Haji Wright went 90 minutes in a win. DK went 20 minutes in that same game against Haji in a loss. Morris went 90 in a win. Sargent, this is on Friday. Keep in mind. Sargent went 46, got a goal and a loss.
The Norwich fans were fucking livid when Nunez and Sargent came out at halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then they came back and they ended up losing 5-3. But man, if Nunez and Sargent were still in there when they came in, Stacey came in, scored a goal, I think it was. I mean, who knows what would have happened? But the fans were livid.
Yep, they were.
What are you doing? You don't know what you're doing.
I know. Gooch went 40 in a win for Stoke on Friday. Wiley went 90 in a loss against Koleosho. So Wiley plays for Watford. But they played Burnley, and even though they lost, Koleosho never saw the pitch. All right, Brendan Aronson, 90 minutes in a win on Friday, which led to what they did this today. A dinner in, 12 minutes for Lask in a win. Not sure where the hell our buddy Bello is, but he didn't even dress. Quincy Butler, 58 for Tyrol in Austria. And that was against, that was it. That was against Lask. And they lost that game to Lask. And then we got Gavin Beavers went 90 on Friday with Brøndby in a tie. Maybe he made a mistake. I didn't watch the game. Puxas, 90 minutes in a tie.
What?
For Hajduk. Split?
He finally got 90 minutes, huh?
Yeah, full 90. Jalen Hawkins, 58 minutes and a loss for Emmen in the second division in Holland. Then on Saturday, Chris Richards got a red card 45 minutes into the game. That was against Tyler Adams. And that was the most boring game I watched this weekend. Boring in that tie. Adams played an okay 61. Balogun, 9 minutes in a tie. Tolkien, 90 minutes in a tie. Good. Another good game for Tolkien. I've been impressed so far. Oh, not to say Wiley didn't play well, because he was good too. Balogun, Paredes, 63 minutes. And then Paredes has a great game for Wolfsburg. He comes on, starts his first game in eons, gets an assist. They get a tie. He plays really well, and you're thinking, okay, against Mainz, by the way, who are in top form right now.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, Paredes is back in the picture out of nowhere. And then,
he's had an entire season to rest. He should be refreshed and ready to roll.
Maloney didn't play in that game, as we already said. You're right. He's rested, I guess. Paredes. Chase, still injured. Mihailovic, 90 minutes in a tie for Hurkan, who currently sit, I believe, second in the Argentinian league.
You mean Miljevic?
So don't
I was like, wait, where's Mihailovic playing nowadays?
Yeah, I know. Still in Rapids. Miljevic, I already said it earlier, do not be surprised if he gets called up. He will probably get called up for the Gold Cup.
I mean, again, we've talked about this before, but obviously it is, Camp Cupcake and all, but the swagger and cockiness that he exuded on that pitch may not necessarily been perfect by any means. US kind of needs that right now, and he's playing well.
Yeah.
So, at least it's from what I've been told. From what the stats.
No, you can watch the highlights. He's playing well.
Yeah.
Castaneda was not in the game for Paderborn. He might be injured. I don't know, but they currently sit in Bundesliga 5th out of 18th. Johan Gomez for Braunschweiger did not dress. He could be injured, but didn't list him as injured. They sit 15th of 18th, so there is a chance that after this whole season where Braunschweiger were threatening relegation, they may not get relegated. Braunschweiger, where they make the liverwurst. And then Fernando Arce in the 18 for Puebla did not play. John Hilton went 84, and Josh Pinadath was in the 18 as Dordrecht lost. Now, Dordrecht in the second division of Holland still have a shot. They still got a shot. They're 4th out of 20 teams. MLS, by the way, quick wrap-up of the very few players who contributed, who are American. Brendan Vasquez got a goal in a win for Austin. Benjamin Kramashi got a goal for Miami. Prevet got an assist for Clit, along with Aguiman, who got a goal on a PK for Clit. Quinn Sullivan got a goal and an assist for Philly. I mean, come on. I'm really surprised that this guy doesn't get more love, because he's on this list week after weekend. Musowski got a goal. So did Rothrock for Seattle. So did Ferreira, got 2 assists for Seattle as they went on 1. Brian Gutierrez, your homeboy, got a goal for Chicago.
Not enough.
I know. Mihailovic got a goal and assist for the Rapids. And Pulskamp, the goalkeeper for Kansas City, got an assist. Yeah, that's not a very long list, by the way, of American contributors in MLS. It's a very short list of about 13 players, 11 players. That's the shortest list we've had in a while. Okay, Sunday, Jedi went 90 in another loss for Fulham. Well, I don't know what's going on with Jedi. Something's off. Tessman got a goal for Lyon in their, I don't know, they win that game? I didn't follow up. Jordan Pifak is back, healthy, with Reims. Got a goal in a win for Reims. That was against Mackenzie's Toulouse, who are in a horrible slump. Horrible slump. They are giving goals up left and fucking right, and Mackenzie's not helping. And they lost that game to Reims, and Mackenzie got a red card in the 29th minute. He has fallen off hard lately. Yes. really bad. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But Toulouse is falling off. Toulouse was one of the best defensive teams for the whole season. In the last 5 games, they're giving up goals left and right like it's just here, have some. I don't know what's going on at Toulouse. No Kai Banks in the 18 for Augsburg versus Brown, who went 90 pretty damn good minutes for Frankfurt in a tie game. A boring game because no one actually did much scoring, I have to say. Very boring. But I watched it for you guys. All right.
So you don't have to.
So you don't have to watch that bullshit. Joe Scally, 70 minutes in a loss to Dortmund. Raina was
There's a nice photo. There's a nice photo of Raina and Scally in the walkway leading out to the field.
Yep, because Raina ended bench for 90. And Cole Campbell's still injured.
I'm honestly surprised that Raina's even making the 18, quite frankly.
Like, why bother?
Dortmund said, hey, pack your bags, you can go wherever you want. We'll transfer you. But we'll still keep you on the 18. So I don't know if they still see some value in him in case they need an option off the bench. But I don't know, they're not doing anything with him, and maybe the idea of keeping him on the 18 is to try to keep his value up, because if he's no longer on the 18, maybe that will hurt his value.
Who knows? At this point, I don't. Busio, 90 minutes and a goal in that tie for Venezia. Here's the thing. He played second striker in that game. Probably going to see him a second striker next game. And by the way, they have a very good chance of not getting relegated now.
No shit.
They are fighting. They sit 16th out of 18. No, 17th out of 18. But they're
an 18. You're talking about Venezia?
Yeah.
18 out of 20.
18th out of 20. Yeah. They got a shot. The team ahead of them.
Lecce only has 1 point above them.
Yep.
Now, Parma, who sit in 16th, are 3 points out of them, but they also have a game in hand.
I wouldn't worry about Parma. All they got to beat is Lecce, right?
Fair enough, yes. They only have to beat one team above them, yes.
Yeah, it's like, how do you not get eaten by a bear? You just run faster than the other people around you, right?
Trip them, push them down to the ground, yeah.
Exactly. Haji Wright went 90 and it got a goal. Whoa, hold on. Let's back up. I moved too far forward. So Pulisic went 75 and Musa 18 in another pathetic game I can't believe I watched for AC Milan. Paxton Aronson went 90 minutes and got a goal and a win versus Ajax. You go, Utrecht. You go, Paxton Aronson. Maurice Malone got a goal in 82 minutes in a loss for Vienna. Galagos in the 18 for Sandrzejewski didn't play. Matthew Hoppe did not dress. That was against, by the way, Andres Jasson, who went 73 for AAB in their loss. So Sandrzejewski not really working out for Hoppe. Damian Downs, a goal in 90 minutes and a win for Cologne. Matt Dietz and Green started as a double pivot, as holding double pivot for Greuther Fürth.
You said Green and Dietz did?
Yeah.
Interesting. Dietz Green got pushed back a bit?
Yeah. They started a double pivot in an odd 3-4-3 in front of the back three. With Dietz being more defensive and Green having kind of a
box to box, more or less.
Yeah, more box to box. And that didn't work. They lost. And now they sit 14th out of 18th. John Brooks still injured. Zendejas got 2 assists in their win. That's Zendejas did for Club America.
Yeah. None. Go for it.
Okay. Frankie Amaya in the 18 for Toluca. Is Frankie Amaya ever going to get to play for Toluca? What's the point of going into Toluca if you're Frankie Amaya, former New York Red Bull? No point. Cade Cowell got some extra time, tiddly bit minutes for Chivas in that tie. Didn't do anything. Keith Pierre went 90 and Zach Booth went 8. as Excelsior got another win, and they are second in the second division in Holland. Excelsior more than likely going up to the top Dutch league, where we could see more of Pierre and more of Booth next season, maybe.
Less
I
likely,
don't know.
Maybe less of Booth. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Booth is a goner. I think he's out. Yep, I'd agree. He's barely played. And then on Monday, Brendan Aronson went 86 in a win versus poor old Gooch came in and got his ass kicked too, but not as bad as they did in the first half. He came in the second half for Stoke where they stabilized a tiny bit, but he got to play. Josh Sargent, 90 minutes in that loss. We already talked about Haji Wright, 90 minutes in a goal and another loss for Coventry City. Just like Norwich, they're going down the shitter. Aiden Morris, 90 minutes in a loss for Middlesbrough. They missed a PK that would have made it 2-0. They fucked themselves. They deserved to lose, but it wasn't Aiden Morris's fault. Koleosius today in the 18 again did not play for Burnley. This is a trend. Stop worrying about Koleosho. Not worth worrying about. Kid can't get a fucking minute for Burnley in the championship. DK, 30, at least DK's getting minutes. For West Brom, they lost 30 of them. Wiley went 90 minutes in a loss, not his fault. For Watford, Horvath went 90 minutes in a tie for Coventry City. Doesn't matter, they're going to get relegated. Cardoso, woo, boy. This kid is on a fucking roll right now. Johnny Cardoso, 90 minutes and a goal and a win for Batiste.
Yeah, one of the few players at this point for us.
I know. Gavin Beaters.
Beating those Beavers?
Beating the Beavers. Gavin Beavers, who started the game before for Brøndby, sat the pine for 90. Weird.
Resting players, the quick turnaround, right?
He just got there not long ago. Why is he already resting? Maybe Beavers don't have much energy. I don't know.
Yeah, you play on the weekend and follow it up with an immediate game on Monday.
My thought is he might have fucked some shit up on the weekend game.
Maybe.
Even though they tied or whatever. By the way, the other bench warmers at Juarez, bench warmed for 90. Benny Diaz and Alex Mendez, your homeboy from Vizela. Christian Kappas went 15 for Viking in Norway in a win. Conrad De La Fuente got extra time for Lausanne, just extra time, nothing more. And they won the game because he didn't play it. So there you go. That's it. That's the Yanks Abroad report. We are done.
Yeah.
We are done. And we want to thank all 342 of you who were here at one point for coming out tonight. Oh, you got more?
Did you want to cover the topic, our vulnerabilities?
Oh, we did already. One of them, the goalkeeper.
So, I mean, the way I'm looking at this is that the weaknesses we've had in the recent, goalkeeper, center backs are a question mark. What's happening at striker? We have a lot of questions and not enough answers. And on top of that, players who've been consistent with us in the past and started this season off strong are now fizzling at the end as we're about to enter the break before Gold Cup. And since we've had no successes internationally speaking,
yeah,
does this bode well moving into that Gold Cup?
Fuck no, it doesn't. Like McKenzie has, as we mentioned earlier, regressing all of a sudden out of nowhere. Probably not, obviously not all his fault. The whole Toulouse defense seems to be doing that. Trusty kind of not starting. They're starting Scales again instead of him next to CCV. But then again, the whole season he's been playing against Scottish teams.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to offend any teams. You know who they are. Bottom of the table Scottish teams makes you look great.
Bottom of the table Scottish team, quite frankly.
Nevertheless, yeah.
Well, I mean, you have Pulisic, who's been fizzling for the last couple of weeks, maybe month or whatever. Not been the stellar Pulisic that we've experienced the first 2/3 of the season. Moose has been a hit and miss with AC Milan. Some weeks he's starting consistently.
No, Moose is done. No, Moose is done.
You know, Weston McKennie's form at Juve has dropped.
I do not think Moose will start. He might start another game, but I seriously doubt it going forward. Like, if it's a gift if they give him another one.
You know, Richards has a couple good games, and then all of a sudden he has a couple bad games. It's just hit and miss.
Big duds.
McKenzie's dropped, like we said.
Yep.
We've had injury after injury after injury, and it's just, like I said, there's only been a few bright spots. We've even talked about Jedi for the past couple weeks. Have been
good,
missing it. You know,
That's still kind of subtly having some injury issues on the side, so much to the point that PSV doesn't want to start him because it's the end of the season. They don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Pepe's still injured. So vulnerabilities really have gone from, okay, McKenzie's playing well. All right. To, now McKenzie's not playing well. Trusty's not playing. CCV and Trusty. CCV not looking that great recently. Jedi, not so great recently. And then in the midfield, McKennie not really playing midfield. He's playing left wing back. Weah, bench guy, right? Pulisic struggling at times, really struggling to get like AC Milan into the. It's not just his job alone, but
yeah,
he's the whole team's struggling, right?
Yeah, and then, like I said, it'd actually be easier to talk about the players who are consistently good for their club. We've talked about them before. I mean, obviously Cardoso has been consistent of late and improving. Sargent's great for club, but questionable for country.
Tessman just scored, but he's had an up and down roller coaster fucking season for Lyon.
Scally's been arguably probably one of the more consistent players.
As just a defensive right back. He's not going to give you anything going forward because he doesn't give the fucking Mönchengladbach anything going forward.
No.
He's not giving us anything going forward. He's told not to. He's told to stay home.
Yeah.
For the most part.
We've got all these cogs. We've got the talent that's there. It's just this time and period right now it's just been bad.
Yeah. I mean,
we're in a bad and dire situation. The ship needs to be righted.
If I'm the opponent of the United States and I'm looking at what they could put up and what they could field, I'm looking at a very vulnerable team that could be exploited in lots of different ways. I'm thinking it takes us two shots to get a goal because whoever's playing goalkeeper, most likely Turner, isn't going to bring an A game.
Yeah.
It's only going to take one or two shots.
We're the wild card team at this point because you don't know which U.S. team is going to show up.
Yep.
I mean, is it going to be the team that lit Jamaica up, like just completely destroyed the game? Or are we going to see the U.S. that fizzled out against Panama and Canada?
Canada.
So, I mean, just who's going to be there? Who's going to show up?
Who the fuck are we? I don't even know who the fuck we are right now. I really don't.
We are robots from the previous cycle awaiting a new operating system update. That's all we are right now.
No, I agree. And I thought we saw the first installment of that versus Jamaica, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then what we saw after that, it's like we got a virus. And that installment was declined or had to be eradicated. And we're right back to playing Greg ball, Berhalter ball. And as Poch said, it's about we're going back to bad habits, as he put it. What he's really saying is
autopilot, I think is the exact
autopilot, bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking it sideways, kicking it backwards when you gain possession is not what he wants. Well, fucking A, Poch. I hope you got in their goddamn faces and let them know that after the game and at halftime. because that just cannot fucking go on any longer. Even Berhalter complained about our transition ball. When we gained possession, we just weren't quick enough going forward. Well, somebody put a foot up these players' assholes, and if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you're off. You're out. The problem is the replacement should be Nathaniel Brown if you're off. The replacement should be a great player or a very good one. It shouldn't, no offense, be Matt Aronson. Okay? It's not the solution. I don't think the solution's putting on Walker Zimmerman, but at this point, I'm throwing my hands in the air. You call up Walker Zimmerman, I'm like, well,
it can't be Zimmerman. He's out with he's still out, isn't he?
I don't know.
This concussion and busted face or whatever it was.
I don't follow it. But if we get a couple fucking MLS center backs called up, Ream will be one of them. If we get another one on top of that, I'll be like, well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. No, Kai Banks maybe isn't ready. I'd like to see him, but I don't know if he's ready. McKenzie's falling off a cliff. Richards he's riding a roller coaster. Yes, he plays at Crystal Palace. I get it. So I'm bringing him, and he's going to start. Who's starting next to him? That's my question. Are we playing three in the back? Are you going to put three dildos center backs out there? Or are you going to play two? So let's limit our damage and our vulnerability at center back by just playing two. Let's just play two of those guys. Don't put three uncertain dudes out there. Unless one of them's Scally, I suppose. Then you're like, okay, well, at least he's solid. Anyhow, we got a lot of vulnerabilities now. Goalkeeper, center. We already knew we did, but it's getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. The solutions aren't becoming more apparent. They're becoming more hazy. They're getting less clear. Because guys that were kicking ass earlier, like McKenzie, we keep using him as an example because it's a great example, are now having issues. With Toulouse, he is. So we got issues, folks. And I don't think the holding center midfield issues are really solved either, honestly. They're really not. Because you got Adams, and if you're going to play Adams as the destroyer, you need one of the two holding two mids. Or if you're playing two eights in front of them, which is not what we did. We played a bunch of defensive guys in front of the back line last time.
Mm-hmm.
We need somebody who can be creative. Someone. And then Reyna doesn't play. And Reyna's in a bad spot. And Tillman's just getting back from injury, and he's never been good for us. And Luna was great, but is he your starter automatically? Guess he might have to be if you're Poch. But then you didn't even play him as a CAM when you played him if you're Poch.
Yeah.
You played him out left. So guess he's not a CAM. So who do you play? Aronson?
No, what's happening is, though, we talked about this during the game, is Poch keeps putting Pulisic in the center. And I don't think that does not work out to his best interest, quite frankly.
Mm-mm. Got to put him out. Got to put him out wide, right? Yeah. So he can take on players.
Well, not even just the taking on players, but also just cutting through the lines. You get a creative option in there that's going to play Way in or play Pulisic in, or whoever our striker is at the time. That was our big problem against Panama. Is we just lacked that offensive, that creative mind. It became very robotic, and what happens when it becomes robotic? Pulisic puts the team on his shoulders and tries to do too much, and then we just continue to pass around the horseshoe because we have no real creative options.
And then I heard people say, well, the real solution is we get Dest and Jedi back. Well, Dest has barely played since he's come back from PSV, and God knows how many games he's going to play till the end of the season because, A, there are not many games left, and B, they don't seem to want to risk it. And Jedi isn't the same Jedi, and I'm sure he's tired as fuck. He's played he started all but one game this season. He's probably fucking exhausted. So I don't know what we're getting out there right now. I hope it's a rested Jedi.
Yeah.
And one that's ready to go compete. But boy, I'm a Fulham guy. I watch all those games. This is not the same Jedi I watched throughout the season leading up to these last number of weeks. That Jedi that I'm watching now, not as effective. Making a few mistakes too. Toe poking guys' goals like he did this weekend. So, all right. I think that's it. Brett.
One last thing, just to leave off on a bit of a humorous note, a little lighthearted note. The film updates says the Academy is now implementing a new rule that members must now watch all nominated films in each category to be eligible to vote for the final round of the Oscars. And Brian says, I mean, this wasn't a rule before?
Popularity contest.
It's like, I know I haven't seen 3 of the 4 movies that are being nominated for this, but I did see this one. So there we go.
So-and-so's my friend because I know him through my agent. We have the same agent. So I'm voting for them. No, I didn't see the movie, but I'm sure he's spectacular. I saw a few scenes, on YouTube or something.
Or, again, this movie checks off all these boxes, and we're going to vote for it.
That fucking movie preview for that movie was awesome. He was so good in that preview. I'm voting for that. Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. This is how our world works, though, people. This is nothing new. And Brian's joking because he knows it, too. That's how a lot of this shit works. It's not what you do, it's who you know. And if that's the operational basic standard we're all living on right now, we're all fucked. And it's time for us to stop putting up with that fucking elitist bullshit. Nobody deserves it just because they think they deserve it. Nobody's entitled to a fucking award because everybody likes them. They're entitled to success because they've done something really good. They've made a really good movie. Mm-hmm. That's why. They've been a really good actor in a really good movie. That's why you get an award. Not because you're entitled to it. And we got too much of this entitled bullshit going on. Oh, yeah. Time to end that. Let's all stop putting up with that bullshit. Just like only certain outlets are allowed and they're entitled to interview U.S. soccer people. Right? Because they're entitled and they're compromised. That's got to stop. I think it would be nice to see U.S. soccer, although they slightly tried it, integrate some independent media into that. That didn't work out real well when they tried, but they tried. So there's that. They tried us. They invited us. Some of us went. Some of us didn't. But it didn't end well. So there you go. All right. That'll do it for tonight. Thank you for showing up. It was awesome. If you missed the show, no worries, Lenny. Just go back and watch it. Yes, I have hair. I've watched that about 100 times. Yes, I have hair. It's not great. I got a big forehead too. But it is what it is. I'm 53 years old. I used to have a great head of hair. I have pictures to prove it. We will be back on Thursday. Hopefully there's something to fucking talk about. If not, we'll come on, do 20 minutes, jerk off, and leave.
That'll be a members-only video, too, by the way.
Members only, although we will see if one of your stepsisters will hang out with us for that show. And, all right. Well, until then, we'll see you on Thursday. Have a great week, guys. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. Hope you had a good time. Good night.
That hurt.
I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating ass It is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, it's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.